All righty. Hey, wrapping up the regular season last weekend against Wisconsin. Tough series, a couple of pretty well played games, and obviously, congratulations to Wisconsin. You know what, real good hockey team, and they earned it on Saturday night. It was a heck of a hockey game, and I thought both teams played real well. But focusing on us, I think there was a number of things we did real well that we're going to have to continue to do, and moving forward and playing Minnesota. You know what? Very very similar team, uh, dangerous lineup. Especially up front, they're very good. Their D men are probably as good as any core in the country, and their goaltenders had outstanding in the mention for Hobie Baker type season. So it's a big challenge for us. But again, some of the things we did well on Saturday night, we'll have to do well against Minnesota and apply some pressure and play hard. And we're getting ourselves ready this week, and we're looking forward to Sunday afternoon.
Ben, go ahead.
Hey, Dan, nice to see you again.
Hey, Ben.
That game you guys played Saturday, where do you put that? When's the last time you felt your team showed the compete and all those things that we talk about, compete and battle until the end? When's the last time you saw your team play that long, that well?
Yeah, I think, one thing I will say about our guys, and even when we haven't played well, I do like the way, hey, our guys have competed. But you can do that in a lot of ways. I mean, if you stand at the bottom of the hill and the opposing army runs down the hill and you just stand there and they run you over, I guess you're competing, you're trying to hold your ground, but it's not very smart tactfully, and your odds of coming out on top. And I think, sometimes we felt like we're a little bit in the survival mode this year at different times. And I think in the sense that you're still competing, but I agree with you on the other hand, though, is that I thought we applied some pressure. We played fairly fast, fairly smart. We moved the puck as well as we had lots of scoring chances, and matched up pretty well with, like I said, a darn good hockey team. So yeah, it's been a while, and I even told the guys that when we met on Monday, and we always have our after action reports and kind of go through it. And I just started reading last week, and I said this last night on the radio show. One of my favorite books is Atlas Shrugged, and going through, and at the end of the first chapter, Dagny Taggart says that they finally get something done, a decision is made, and they have a resolution to something, and she said it was the hard, exhilarating pleasure of action. And I read that on Sunday morning, and that's kind of how I felt after the game on Saturday. That that there was, hey, that was some pretty good hockey, and hey, it doesn't always turn out how you want it, but definitely felt better about it, and I think the guys did in that sense. And I think over the last several weeks they've kind of started to refine their game and how hard you have to work, and some of the things you have to do. So it was good to see him play that well.
Thanks, Danton.
Jess.
Dan, we saw your team just a couple of weeks ago in Minnesota and got to see both of your goalies. I know you've played the young guy as well as Ritter recently. Just where are you at goaltending wise, and do you prefer to go with one guy, or what do you like to do?
Well, if we could play them both at the same time, that'd be good. But rules of the game make us play only one. But you know what? I like a little competition, and I think that's fine. Drew's carried the mail this year. He's done a great job. Pierce has come in and spelled him and done very well, and he's gotten a couple starts and done very well. So hey, we've got a little bit of a decision to make, and we'll have that later on. But I think it's a healthy thing. I think Drew's handled it well. Pierce has handled it outstandingly well all year. It's been a weird year, and maybe hard to get a freshman goaltender into games just with the compactness of the season, but he's progressed and put us in a situation. So I'm sure somewhere around Friday we'll take a look at the week's work and where we're at, and we'll make a decision.
And then if I could follow up, just your thoughts on going to one site and going to single elimination as opposed to what you did in your first couple of years.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's kind of a neat way to do it. I think getting us all together. I think there's been a lot of work done this year, as far as the head coaches and the sports administrators, and the success that the Big Ten and college hockey has had overall this year has been outstanding. If you look at I mean, if you look at any of the sports in the Big Ten, the number that we've gotten completed or percentage wise is pretty high in what we've all got through. So I think it's good. Hey, get us all in one spot, and single elimination is fun. It's an interesting way, and you're trying to survive and play the next day. So I think for this year, it's a great thing, and we'll go down there. Notre Dame's done an outstanding job setting it up and preparing it, and I'm sure everybody's excited to get down there.
Thank you.
Nick.
Hey, Coach, when you think about trying to make sure that your Army is ready at the bottom of the hill, what type of ways are you hoping that your guys can play with that same type of energy that you saw from Saturday in order to pull off the upset?
Well, I think Sung Soo would probably say you're better off at the top of the hill, but we'll see. But one thing I liked is that we did we didn't wait for the game to come at us as much, and we applied a little bit of pressure, and we were a little proactive. We put more pucks on that. We much better job making decisions coming through the neutral zone in terms of hey, playing behind their D a little bit, and that leveled the playing field quite a bit. So yeah, I like we have to play a certain way, and like I said, it's been a weird year psychologically and physically, and sometimes it's not the evenness of roads, but and when we play a certain way, we're a pretty tough team to play against. And like I said, that's applying some pressure and playing going forward. And if we can do those things, then we feel like we can play with anybody in the country.
One quick follow-up. When we were looking at the games over the weekend, Louis was kind of disappointed in himself, the amount of penalties that he was getting in those games. Jagger is another guy who kind of puts you guys in compromising positions just because of how aggressive he plays. What type of ways are you trying to make sure these guys just kind of play a little bit more focused on?
Yeah, I would say with Mitch, just things behind the play. You know what I mean? If a guy hits you and you slash back, that's got to be a non-starter. And now if it's a physical and you're forechecking and you get called for something, that's a whole nother thing. We'll deal with that. But it's hard enough killing penalties, and it's a crucial time of the year, and normally we're pretty good at that. So you know what? I think it's more of a hey, let's address it and move on. And with Jagger, I mean he's an aggressive player, and some things are going to happen, but you know what? You want guys to play hard. You want them to finish checks. You want to play. Hey, it's a tough game played in the corners, and you have to go there. So, but on the other hand, you're right. I mean, we can't afford to take a lot of dumb penalties and put ourselves in a bad spot.
Thank you.
Dan Kelly.
Dan, that shows you it's been a while. I think it's been 2017 since the tournament has had this format, and it was at Joe Louis Arena when the Big Ten helped close it down. Is this your first experience in this format in the Big Ten?
In the Big Ten, yes. We've had the host sites in the first round and moving on throughout since I've been here. So I've been, and when I was with Huntsville, we had this type of setup. So we've been through it. International hockey, it's you're kind of get into this type of setup once you get into the medal round. So I've been through it a decent amount, and like I said, the format is what it is. You have to deal with it, and you go and play, and that's like I said, it's an exciting thing, and Big Ten basketball is this way, and NCAA basketball. So it should be, I think, an exciting format and lots of good hockey.
It's safe to say that it doesn't alter the way you coach, because without a good Sunday, there's no Monday.
Yeah, no, that's we borrow a lot of stuff from basketball around here, and it's just hey, tell the guys to we'll worry about tomorrow. You guys get us there, and just take care of the Sunday game, and then we'll figure out Monday. So yeah, survive to fight again.
Sam.
Hey, Coach. Looking back at the 4 games you guys have played against Minnesota this year, getting off to kind of slow starts has kind of haunted you guys. I believe been outscored something like 10-1 in first periods against Minnesota this year. So obviously there's probably always an emphasis on starting quickly, but do you think there's kind of an extra emphasis against Minnesota because of that? And if so, like, how do you kind of go into preparing for that and executing it?
Yeah, I think hey, you better, like I said, they're a deep, talented team, and they play hard, and better be ready every shift. And particularly looking at the last game we played and going in there, and first 10 minutes or so we weren't bad, and then hey, we got caught on some bad pinches and some lapses. And I think if anything, that teaches you that when you play teams that are like that, that if you have a lapse and you leave some bad outman situations, they're going to take advantage of them. And Minnesota's definitely that type of team. And to be aware of that. And we talk about the guys, hey, win your shifts and, win 5 minutes at a time playing through. And that'll be important. Hey, face off ready right from the beginning. So we've been able to, scrap our way into a couple games. I think the second game here was a particularly good game between the two of us. And but you're right, we had to battle back, and that's a tough way to play. You just look at the way hockey is right now. The team that scores the first goal, whether it's the NCAA or the NHL, the odds go up dramatically in terms of that. So, but no, hey, you've got to be ready. You got to play 60 minutes. And Coach Mason was always real big in talking to us about that. You don't know whether you win the game or lose the game in the first minute or the last minute. And games are 60 minutes long, so make sure you're playing all of them. And that's a good message for our guys.
Nate.
Hey, Dan. Just through the first year here, what have you liked from Nash House and his improvement? I was getting up on that top defensive pairing and kind of working his way onto that top power play as well.
Yeah, hey, for young D-men, it's they come in with a certain skill set, and Nash is he skates real well. He's got a good head for the game. He moves the puck, and I think for him the biggest thing was just getting some games under his belt, getting some confidence, trusting his feet, and realizing that he and Dennis were a pretty good pair and that he could play. So I think everything kind of comes from that, and then you can start expanding some things. But I think the biggest thing that we've seen out of him, two things, is just he's defended very well, and again used his feet and good stick and good IQ to close, and then starting to really transition the puck, and that's been a big help to us in terms of him being able to turn the corner and get it up into our forwards' hands and get some offense going. So it's been good to see his progress. We knew this was the type of player he was, and you're never sure if that's going to take half a year or a whole year, but you know that it's coming, and it's nice that we've gotten a little extra real good hockey out of him.
One quick follow-up. Have you had any conversations yet with any of your seniors in terms of maybe using that extra year of eligibility here with the club?
Not really. It's something that we've been trying just to figure out or focus on, I guess, just this year. I think we've had tangentially we've said that's something that we'll discuss in the future, and probably whenever the season's over that we'll sit down and talk about. We've looked at it as a staff, but we've got guys coming in. There's a lot of different issues that go into that in terms of, not just with us, but within the athletic department and numbers. So there's a lot of different moving parts to that. And when we get to that point, we'll look at it. Certainly won't be everybody, but there may be a few guys that we discuss it with.
Neil.
Yes, Dan. When you look at Wisconsin's offense compared to Minnesota's offense, are there any differences that you have to adjust to? Obviously, both teams have good depth, high-scoring forwards, but do they do anything differently in their attack zone coming at you?
I mean, everybody has, everyone's a little different. I think, their similarities are there, though, that, they're real deep, especially down the middle. I mean, you look at both their teams, all four centermen are real tough. And that's usually when you see a really good team, that's, good centers, good defensemen, and good goalies, kind of built down the middle like a good baseball team. So that's one thing. And I think the similarity is that it's every line and it's every shift. And like I said, for your lines 1 through 4 better be ready to play and be able to handle the pressure. And everybody has their leading scorers, but I think they're deep and they're capable up and down their lineup. So I think there's similarities. There's always things that are kind of the same, but the one thing I would say is that they're deep and they're going to attack you every shift.
Thanks, Dan.
Michelle McMahon.
Hey, Coach.
Michelle.
2 questions for you. First of all, what have you learned about your team this season?
Wow, that's, you know what, you learn a lot every year, and I think one thing, all teams are different, and it doesn't matter. You can have most of your guys back, and there's always uh, a process and a growth of your teams in the locker room, and this year has been a particularly interesting year, as you're all well aware, and just the uncertainty is hard on young men and women, and I would even say, hey, at the pro level, and we're testing every day, and they don't know if they're sitting around waiting in the mornings. If their test comes back positive, then they have to go get another test, and they have to sit around for 4 hours. Or we do some secondary testing here at Michigan State where you have to wait a day and a half to get it, and we do that on Tuesdays, so you have to wait till Wednesday night. So they're sitting, they don't know if they're going to be practicing that day or playing that weekend, and then the uncertainty of the schedule, and it just there's a lot of things, and that weighs on their minds. And I think there's chaos and order in life, and this year's been there's a lot of chaos. So I guess if you want to say what we've learned is that it's a pretty strong group of individuals, and I would say that for our team, and I'd say I think we've learned that for college athletes across the board, that it's pretty amazing how they've come through this, because I think the physical part of a college season in any sport is really hard. I think the psychological aspect of what these young people have gone through in terms of dealing with this and what's been on their shoulders has been really impressive. And regardless, you can look at results, and hey, that is what it is, and we'll sort all that out. But how people come through, how they do mentally, how they stick together, how they've battled, how they've seen some tough times, and how they're working through this right now. Hey, I by the end of the year, I always end up loving the teams I have, and I know the sacrifices they go through, and everybody doesn't. They don't know the injuries and what everyone's gone through, but hey, we see it every day. So I've been impressed with them, and maybe that hasn't resulted in the number of wins they wanted, but it rarely does. There's not too many of those 42-0 seasons or whatever Sean Walsh had out in Maine. There's not many, maybe 43, but how they come through it. We talk to the seniors, and we do the radio show, and the guys, they always ask the seniors in the year, and they say, what are you going to remember? And I think Brody Stevens said it last night on the show, and he just said, hey, the family of friends that you've made for life. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the important thing, and we'll figure the rest out. But I guess if that's what I've learned, I'm continually impressed by the young people in college sports.
Absolutely. And what would you say the identity of this team is at this point of the season with what you've been able to come up with this year?
Well, you know what? That's why that's been an interesting thing, and I think at times we've been a pretty hardworking team, and I think at times we've been real hard to play against. I think at other times, our lack of scoring and maybe having some young guys in some high profile situations or some high pressure situations, has been exposed a little bit in that sense. So I think it's kind of you hate to say that, hey, this is what we are. I can tell you when we play well, we do a lot of things that we did on Saturday night. Like I said, we pressure, we play hard together, we play as units of five. We have a certain relentlessness about us. We have there is a good calmness, believe it or not, with this group that we found ourselves in some weird spots, and they battled back. And one of those games was against Minnesota earlier in the year when we got it back to a 2-2 game. A game against Michigan where we're down 2-1 late, and we find our way to get back to a 3-2 win. So there's a lot of positives, and as I told the guys the other day, the things we go through in life, they're heroes' journeys. And at the end of the day, everybody faces the dragon at the end of the day. And hey, our journey isn't over yet. And so maybe a month from now, I'll give you a much more detailed answer of what kind of identity this team has.
Thanks, Coach.
Scott, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, looking at Minnesota, they had about a 21% successful power play this year. How are you going to go about their special teams and potentially avoid taking those careless penalties to avoid them getting opportunities?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's obviously the first thing, is that you want to make sure that, you're not taking unnecessary penalties, behind the play and in the offensive zone, and and careless ones. So that's the first step. It's the best penalty kills is not to be in the box, and go from there. But hey, in terms of killing, you got to be aware they run a lot of nice stuff. They got guys that'll shoot. They got guys that'll make plays around the net. So you know what, you have to cover that and have a plan. So you know what, we're doing our penalty kill aspect of things today, and we'll work on that. But hey, good sticks, good recoveries, and stay out of the box.
And one other quick question. Obviously, in the second game of the series last weekend, we saw Josh on the wing with Jagger and Kristoff. Do you expect maybe him to move back to center this week, or did you like his play on the wing and that could be an option for this coming?
Yeah, it's an option. I liked it. I thought, we twisted a few things around. Now, that's at home where we can get matchups that we want, or more advantageous ones. And I thought our guys did a nice job of that. Now going on the road, maybe, that might change a little bit to where Josh gets a little bit of time at center. But it was good that he got some time there. He and Kristoff have played together before. They grew up playing together. So, there's a good bit of chemistry there. And I think the one thing that allowed us to do that was that Kristoff's play is really picked up in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and he's starting to feel like a hockey player. He's finding his ice and making some plays offensively and doing a good job defensively. And that's hey, he's played 26 college games, and we wish he was in the 30s, because the pace he's moving at, he's doing some nice things. So that's given us the ability to do that, and twist the other lines around a little bit as well.
Okay, one last one with Jess here.
Danton, Mel Pearson joked this week that Tony Granato owes a mistake after the Big Ten race came down to just decimal points there, and Michigan got a win at Minnesota last Friday. I'm wondering if you got any kind of pep talk from Bob Motzko last Saturday, with you facing Wisconsin, and just kind of overall on the way the Big Ten race came down with the switch to winning percentage.
It's just like Mel, make it all about him. Wasn't about anything Wisconsin did. So no, hey, you know what? We you go out and you wanna make a team earn it, and you know what, you watch the Michael Jordan thing this summer, and you're always trying to find that motivation or create something. And hey, we did our darndest to make Minnesota have to go out and win that night, and we were hoping to maybe rain on someone's parade, but you know what, that's the fun of it. It was a good battle. Like I said, we didn't lay down. We made it pretty hard. They earned it, and I congratulate them for them. This has been a tough season, and Wisconsin or Minnesota was right there with them. So 2 real good teams.